Hey, what's up, everybody? Happy Tuesday to you. It is so good to have everybody here today. We're going to be having a great time today talking to one of my friends, Clay, and he's going to be teaching a class at our conference this summer. In fact, I've been saying this summer, it's actually this month, which is kind of crazy. But we're really excited to talk to Clay and to learn a little bit about him and to learn a little bit more about Corel. And a lot of you guys will be either you're already using Corel or you're going to start using it. And this is going to be a great class for you to take. So we wanted to give you a few minutes getting to know him and his teaching style and getting to know some of the resources he has, and then ask questions if you have them as well. I know that my co-host here, Tabitha, has a bunch of questions. And so we're gonna try to not make this just a little Corel counseling between the two of them. But if that's the way it goes, that's fine. Hopefully you'll pick up something from it. But it's gonna be a lot of fun. Clay, good to see you, man. I'm glad you're here. Thank you for being
Thanks,
here.
man. Yeah, thanks you guys. This is fun.
So let's ask the silly questions we tend to ask at the beginning. Where is Clay located? Where are you at?
I'm in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho.
Idaho, very nice.
Top of Idaho. Cool. Like there's Canada, and then there's me.
Okay, right. I was going to say I know where Idaho is. I don't know anything in Idaho, but of course I'm in Oklahoma, and nobody knows where Oklahoma is either. So I think we're in the same.
Texas, and then there's you.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, it's all relative to Texas. Yes, that's true. And we always have to ask our obligatory weather question. What's the weather like in Idaho today?
Ooh, I don't want to say because it might bring too many people
down.
I think high 70s, low 80s, partly cloudy. There's people out on the lake. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Clay, you're breaking up. We're losing you. Oh, I'm sorry. That is wonderful for you. Tabitha, I don't want to hear about yours either because I suspect it's similar. But I know here, yesterday we had a heat index of 112. It was hot. Tabitha, go ahead and just make me sad.
In California, we don't actually have a heat index. That's not a thing here.
Oh, shut up.
Yeah.
You didn't even know what I meant. Okay, that's great.
No, we're still running the whole house fan to cool the house off in the morning. So definitely a mild summer for us. Today's high will be 95.
Man, one more thing about the weather, and we'll move on to talking about Clay and Corel. But for anybody who has a dog, you know that your dog has to go out and pee at really inopportune times, frustrating times. And one of my dogs has decided that his time is between 3:30 and 4 in the morning all the time. And I tried to ignore him, but I don't know if you know that if you ignore them, you get another result that you don't want. So I get up routinely about 3 o'clock in the morning, 3:30 in the morning, let my dogs out. And not last night, but the night before, it was like 94 degrees at like 3:30 in the morning. It was just dumb. Yeah. So that was joyous. But on a more positive note, for those of you guys who are joining us for the first time, or if you're not familiar with our conference, I just want to tell you really quick what we're doing. And then I want to get into talking to Clay, get to know him a little better and get to know a little bit more about what he does at CorelTRAINER and that kind of thing. So if you guys don't know, it's scrolling along the bottom there this whole time. We've got a conference in Grapevine, Texas this year. It's our 4th annual one. It's the August 28th through the 30th. I know it's the 28th because that's my wedding anniversary, everybody. No presents needed. We're good. But it's going to be a fantastic time. We're at the Gaylord Texan, which is an amazing venue. It's going to be a lot of fun. Real quick, I'll pop these up on the screen, but we'll talk about them later. But we've got 22 different breakout classes for you guys to take, including Corel. So that's going to be great. This schedule is in our group, our event group. It's on our event Facebook page. Up under the pinned post or the featured post, so you can check that out. We're also going to have this available for you in the program, so you'll know which classes are when, and you'll have all this information. No worries there whatsoever, but lots of things to choose from. We've got a ton of different teachers. We've got a keynote speaker for each morning. In fact, this guy is one of them. But we got me. We got my friend Johnny Hampton, who's fantastic. We've got Alicia Pate, who a lot of you guys know. She is going to be incredible. She's talking about the value of systems. And then Emily, that mom with the laser, of course, we all know who she is, but she's going to be talking about building a personal brand in a saturated market. So that's going to be fantastic as well. So it's just going to be a great time, and I'm looking forward to seeing everybody. But if you haven't grabbed your tickets yet, right there, nextlevellasерevents.com, you can grab that and let us know if you have any questions. But enough of that. Let's talk to Clay a little bit. Clay, for people who don't know you, can you just tell us a little bit about your background and how you personally got started with Corel yourself, and we'll talk about CorelTRAINER next, but tell me about your journey with design and Corel.
Yeah, for sure. Geez, how far back should we go?
Right.
Nearly.
I was born in 19, yeah.
Geez. Nearly 20 years ago, started using Corel at a few different print companies and graphic companies as an alternative to the typical design systems that were out there that I found much more difficult. Don't know how or why. I just kind of figured out Corel myself.
Yeah.
Then going through college, doing assignments in CorelDRAW, though my degrees have nothing to do with graphics. Well, I have an advertising, anyways, a little bit, I suppose. And then learning it well enough to start teaching others who wanted to learn Corel. I guess from a very young age, I kind of describe things that seem complicated to others. It's just something that I've done well. Whether it's, when I was a little kid, my nieces or now my nieces and nephews, or when I it was a little kid, and I could just explain things to others in a way that's understandable. So I guess that's my background.
So you said 20 years ago. So I'm picturing that did you have a bunch of floppy disks when you were?
I do remember floppy disks when I was a child.
Or was it CDs at that point when
discs, yeah, for sure. Not to date myself, but I graduated college in 07.
Yeah, well,
So
I'm a lot older than you, so you can date yourself all you want, son. So that's great. That's cool. But I remember back when I first started doing design too. I believe I started using Corel as well, and it has been a really long time, but I think it was a bunch of CDs, right? When we got a bunch of them. At least it wasn't all of the floppies, which was a crazy number way back in the day.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. The amount of info we have on our phones is 100 times more than our old computers.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's just nuts. So you started using that. You started teaching some people. Tell me about CorelTRAINER and when that came into being? And of course, I don't want to assume that everybody even knows that, so I'll put that on the screen as well. But they can find you, among other places, at CorelTRAINER.com, correct?
Correct. CorelTRAINER, my primary product, my primary service, what I've been doing for well over 10 years now, my own business, and then also Simple Designer, which is the newer system and product that we can talk about, get into a little bit later too, if you like.
Yeah.
But yeah, ultimately teaching people in the little companies I worked at how to do graphics stuff, if you will, and then started teaching clients, because the more the client knew about CorelDRAW, the better they could provide what we needed.
Yes.
Those clients ultimately said, "Can I pay you to spend an hour with me?" Okay. And then ultimately, I had several of those clients, whether I would go to their shop, being a paper printing, offset printing shop, or a screen printing shop, an embroidery shop, or digital printing, wide format. Engraving shops would fly me out to their location, or we'd work remotely. So I had a plethora of clients where I just explained Corel, the things I'd figure out. And then when we would run into something we don't know yet, I would figure it out and share it with them. CorelTRAINER specifically got started when those clients said, "Okay, can I pay you to answer the phone?"
Yeah.
So when I get stuck on that random day, a week after we learn, I teach them, can you, so that started like a membership service of mine, CorelTRAINER.com, about a decade ago.
Wow, that's cool. You said, can we pay you to answer the phone? I mean, isn't that true? And on both sides of it, to be honest, whether you're the one who's in need or the teacher, isn't it true that help is never needed, 9 to 5? I mean, I'm kidding. Sometimes it is, obviously. But a lot of times I know for me, when I'm running into something where I don't understand what I'm doing, it's like 10 p.m., or it's just the way it is. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's just the flow of things, but it's absolutely true. Yeah.
It's absolutely expected. Mondays and Fridays, I kind of set aside because I still like to personally support our clients myself as much as I can. And as well as I do, 7 p.m. on a Friday evening, this was supposed to be out 2 hours ago. And
Yeah, yes, yeah,
okay, I'll help you. I'll help you. Yeah, happy to.
absolutely. You know, it really doesn't matter what industry you're working in. There's some version of that, right? There's some version of that. I spent a lot of my time working in the church world, and it's the same thing as everything goes to hell in a handbasket, pun intended.
Right.
You know, on Friday night, Saturday night, you know, right before your big service or whatever's going on. So it's always true. You know, your support system is usually there, you know, during the day on Wednesday, and but I don't need them then.
Right.
It's so true. The number of Facebook messages I get at all hours of the night is pretty hilarious. I get a lot of them. But tell me, so I don't want to assume that everybody knows about CorelTRAINER. What all does CorelTRAINER provide, and who is it for?
Yeah, absolutely. So CorelTRAINER, we'll fast forward a little bit from, paying my company a small fee for me to answer the phone.
Yeah.
It now has hundreds of training videos as a plugin inside of CorelDRAW itself.
Wow, cool.
Searchable, organized, and follow along worksheets. So that would be my primary product, if you will, the Trainer plugin that associates to the said membership, where clients can ask questions of my AI, get 4-minute video answers that are tailored to our industry, as well as reach out to me or one of the other trainers and get answers as soon as humanly possible.
Nice. So it really brings all the help like right there.
Right, yeah, as much as possible. Yeah, I mean, we have hundreds of training videos, and I tell every new client, look, I could have millions of training videos. You're still going to get stuck.
Yeah.
So that's why we're still there to help. It's classic, a new member, they're going through the A to Z courses. They just haven't got to that topic yet.
Yeah.
So they click a button, they ask us a question, no worries. We answer it. We send them to a short video, or, we guide them that way.
That's great. I love that. Man, I wish I had that back in the day. That would have been great. But of course, that's why you started it. So that makes sense.
Pretty much.
Yeah. That's great. So your conference class is primarily designed for people who are just getting started or who are in the early going. Not that you couldn't answer more complicated questions, obviously, but we're shooting primarily at the beginner. One of the phrases that I've used that some of the other teachers have adopted is it's kind of second semester 101 is what I'm shooting, the class that I'm teaching at. And I can answer some 201 questions, no problem, but it really is primarily guided towards somebody who's open. The one that I'm doing is who's opened the program before, has it, but is still not really comfortable. Would you say that that's more or less kind of where you're shooting at least the center of the target for your class?
Absolutely. And for your guys' event, I believe I'm teaching the same class twice.
Yeah.
So I will try. I'm going to try to stick to that outline.
Yeah.
A little bit more than an event or a course that I'm teaching that's purposely live, purposely going to be off the wall. I'd like to follow the entry-level steps, the first 10, 20 minutes, explain Corel, why it's so awesome to everybody in the room, and then get into those basic designing tools, those shortcut elements that are going to help everyone, etc.
I know Tabitha's got a bunch, and I won't try to steal her thunder here, but I know for me, with every design program I've ever used, although I always end up learning some of the deeper things in there, it's amazing to me how often there's just one or two little really simple things that I just simply didn't know. And when I learned those little things, I was like, oh my gosh, I use that every single day, and sometimes I'm embarrassed that I didn't know it, but I need to get over that, by the way, because it's amazing how many people don't know the same things. And also there's so many different ways in all these programs to do the same thing. There's different ways to get there. And I'm looking forward to being able to hear some of the things that you can teach us that may get us to somewhere faster. Maybe we're taking the long road around something, and maybe there's a faster way to do it, or a keyboard shortcut, or just a different way to think about it. So I'm sure that Tabitha's going to have some for you. But we're excited about this. I want people to make sure that if they're beginners, this is the place for them. It's okay. They don't need to feel weird. They don't need to feel out of place. This is a great place for them. And I will tell you this, Clay, I know I was going to say this at the end too, but I'll say it now, is he's got 90 minutes. That's a good amount of time, but you're going to want to connect with him some more. And so you can connect with them at CorelTRAINER.com and some other ways as well. So really, this is a time both to learn some tools, but also be able to have a person you can connect to further on, which I think is going to be really great. So Tabitha's got some questions she wants to start asking you, and we'll just kind of see where this goes. Tabitha, take it over for me, and I'll jump in whenever I feel like it.
Well, first of all, as long as our classes don't overlap, I plan on sitting in on yours. I'm sure there's plenty I'm going to learn.
I don't think yours do. I think you're safe.
Okay, good. Yeah, so I actually started using CorelDRAW 8 years ago when I got my first laser, and I was thinking about it this morning of why did I choose Corel? And honestly, it's because my father-in-law was so generous and brought me a laptop, and it was already on it, and so was Illustrator. And between playing with the two, I looked up some YouTube tutorials, and I found a guy on YouTube that taught CorelDRAW as if I was 5 years old. And he spoke the same kind of language that I spoke. And so it just clicked. And when I tell people, if you're looking for a design program, find one that you can find somebody to train you in the way that you learn.
Yeah.
So I'm so glad that you're coming, because I think that we haven't been able to show off CorelDRAW, and I always tell people at least check it out. But I'm so excited to have you at this conference. Yeah. So when people are starting out, what are some things that you see them get caught up on, just like from the very day one? Where do they get frustrated?
Yeah, I'd say everyone gets a little overwhelmed. You sit down, you turn on a graphic design process or system, and it's just wow. There's a million buttons that do a million different things, and they immediately feel overwhelmed. I think that's the first hurdle for pretty much everyone, whether they're pretty comfortable on computers and doing all sorts of stuff, or they just got their first smartphone. They're still going to look at any design system and say, "Uh-oh." They have that initial step, right? And my advice would be, don't be afraid. This is a tool that's specifically designed for that, right?
Yeah.
The first time you get behind the wheel of a car, oh geez, there's a lot of buttons and levers and things, but we all know that once you just do it a few times, you're not going to break it, unless you crash into something. But that's when you do this, the wheel's going to turn, and when you click that, you're going to draw something. So,
I love your analogy of the car, because that is really true. My wife and I want to say we have a new car. We've actually had it for 3 years now, but we haven't discovered all the buttons still.
Oh, yeah.
It's a Hyundai Palisade. It's a great car, but it has some bells and whistles that I don't drive it all the time, but every now and again I go, wait, what is that? And using your analogy of the driving the car, there's a couple things that I need to know right when I get in the car.
Mhm.
I need to know what the pedal under my right foot does. I need to know how to put it in drive and park and this stuff, and everything else can come later. And I think you can use that analogy very well for a design program. Is, hey, how do I make a square? How do I make a circle? How do I, right?
Exactly. You don't need to learn how to use cruise control to drive the car, but it'll help, right?
Yes.
And the new cars have the fancy adaptive cruise control. Ooh,
they do.
Right. Yeah. So there's even fancier, newer things. But as long as you can turn the wheel and stop and go and use your blinker.
Yes.
I
don't think my car has one of those.
No. Your car must be really big then. Don't use blinkers.
I'm coming over. It doesn't matter. Right. That's great. I love that. Well, go ahead, Tabitha. I just wanted to kind of add that, because I think that's a great analogy. Because too often we worry about the bells and whistles that we actually may not even use for our job.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And coming back to what you actually said earlier, I might be doing something the long way, but you're getting it done.
Yeah.
I spoke with a client yesterday that had a graphic in CorelDRAW and was using copy paste a line, and to make gang sheets, right?
Yeah.
And then I showed them, in 4 minutes, a function in Corel called step and repeat, where you can say I need 10 across and 10 deep. And it does so, right? But it wasn't like they were doing it wrong. It just took them 10 minutes, right? And when they found
the lights coming on over there already.
Yep.
Right? They found the new button. Oh, it saves me 10 minutes. Cool.
That's great.
Yeah. Maybe I did not know about that one. Maybe I've kind of dabbled and I only know how to do the basics still, but I get the job done.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's, again, it's not wrong. You're still driving to work safely.
Yeah.
Just
Yes.
apparently slowly. So that's good to
With
know.
your blinkers. Yes.
No blinkers.
I got a
So
feeling you
why?
guys are gonna make fun of me about that at the event.
Oh no, it's great
No,
because
it's
it makes
great.
sense. It totally makes sense. It connects with me right away. So yeah.
So I know why you like it for design, but specifically for laser users, why do you like CorelDRAW?
Um, Several reasons. So CorelDRAW itself, um, absolutely a leader when it comes to vector artwork, node editing, vector, editing, lines, filling content, outlining content, contouring or offsetting, super duper easy. Yeah, I said duper. Anyways,
Yeah.
but the thing about CorelDRAW is, especially with like the last 5 or 6 versions, it's absorbing Corel Paint, photo paint features. So in the world of engraving, so often we have that really bold text that really needs to be deep or outlined or whatever, and then the image, the digital image within it, or the digital image in the center, and it's all in the same program. You can adjust those gray scales, right?
Mm,
That depth, darkness, lightness of both the digital image and the vector content, all in a relatively simple program. So specifically for engravers, for what we care about isn't fancy colors and these type of things. It's just darkness, lightness, depth, and being able to reverse or move forward with okay, those type of things.
that's
Um,
great.
Yeah.
so that's why I say what is it like? I think it's 85 or 90% of engravers prefer Corel. Last
Mm,
time I did a survey. Um, so
that's
there's
great.
other ones, but still.
Well, and I
Well,
think
actually,
one of the things that Tabitha said this earlier, and one of the things that I recommend whenever anybody is beginning, I talk to hundreds and hundreds of beginning laser owners, and they say, "Hey, Mark, what do you what do you recommend that I start using?" And they always ask me what I use, and I go, "Well, let me stop you there. I think what matters more is not what I use, but what is easiest for you." And Clay, you said something about, or I'm sorry, no, Tabitha did, is that uh, that Corel just clicked with you.
mhm.
And I think that's so important, is to use something that clicks with you, because not everything's going to click with you the same way it does somebody else. And I also think now that you've got someone like Tabitha, you've got Clay, you've got a growing number of people that maybe you guys out there now know, if you choose to go the Corel route, you now go, oh, I'm not alone. And by the way, you were never alone, but you may not have known anyone. And that's what I guess I'm getting at, is that this is a great time for you to get to know other Corel users,
Mhm.
and then you have some resources. So this is really, really important. And Clay, when you say that you can basically do I'm going to paraphrase for you, but the raster and the vector work in the same program, that's money right there. And beginners may not realize that, but it is.
And beyond that, I hate to jump ahead, but
No, go
so
ahead.
many engravers that I've met, the next step eventually is adding some sort of color, adding some sort, whether it's a print process or a sublimation or something sometimes. And again, same program, same learning curve, everything applies to that next step.
That's great. That's really great. Okay, sorry, Tabitha, I keep jumping in. Go for it.
That's okay. Actually, totally random thought here. Gosh, about 6 years ago when we were doing a tour of our middle school, I saw that they had a laser, so naturally I wandered into that classroom, even though my kid wasn't going to be taking that class. Um, and I saw that they were using Corel. I'm like, oh, okay, great. And they had a laser that was broken down, so I was talking to the teacher about it. He opened up his Corel program, and it was Corel Laser. And I said, I don't know anything about that one. So I'm guessing that's a plugin for Corel.
Yes and no. A little bit older. Corel had tried for a while there to develop versions for different production
Oh,
processes.
okay.
Okay.
Ultimately, like a light burn, right?
Hmm.
Great tool for running lasers. Absolutely. Maybe
Hmm.
not the best design tool, right?
Hmm.
So trying to bridge said gap, also including drivers. to run equipment again. Now, y'all know that Corel has a cajillion drivers. I've yet to run into a laser that doesn't connect with Corel, either with an easy button or an export option, right? But when setting up said equipment, those features specifically would be in what you're referring to.
Gotcha.
Okay.
And there's been other attempts, although not with the last few versions of Corel. They're kind of, as mentioned, Draw is absorbing paint features, and that's where they want to go. And then the two major versions of Corel is either their subscription or their own it forever. So that's kind of they have a few others. We can chat about those too, but those are the main ones for our industry, certainly.
Well, on that note, do you guys work with schools at all?
We have a few clients that are schools, absolutely. They like my add-in trainer, for the kids to follow along with, or the teacher to do to kind of substitute a class or another perspective on a certain topic. And so, yeah, we work with a few schools for sure. Always nice, that's one of the leg up. Anyways, Adobe did that extremely well. Adobe, gave just, a cajillion versions of their software to every university they could, right? So when kids get out of college and they have the software that they learned, they buy that. Right? In fact, I believe Adobe makes more money from university kickbacks than they do selling. But I'm not going to. Anyway, excellent design software. Maybe not the best for the imprint industry. Obviously, I'm partial, but a foot in the door with the kids as they learn can certainly help them, break out and then learn more, and then after that class, expand.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so with beginners, what are some mistakes that you see them make? Maybe make them feel a little bit lazy about the program. Like for me, I know I just kind of learned the basics that I needed to know to get the job done, and have not really dabbled with new tools. And when the new version updates, I'm looking at going, well, that's cool, that's new, but I don't really take the time to click on it because I'm just trying to move on to the next thing. But what are some bad habits that you see beginners pick up on?
I think the worst habit a beginner, and everybody does this, so I'm not judging anyone, is once they learn what they need, they stop learning. If they continue to invest, and I tell a lot of my clients, especially beginners, if you invest that little bit of time beyond the need, but before retroactively, proactively, if you will, it will save you a great deal in the long run and give you some functionality that maybe you didn't even know existed.
Yeah.
So, it's Friday evening. You need to learn that thing. You go on YouTube. An hour and a half later, you finally figure it out. Or if you're a client with us, hopefully, minutes, not hours. But point is, you finally figured out what you needed. Well, what if every Friday night? Well, maybe that's not Friday night. Thursday at 4:00. Your alarm on your phone buzzes and it says, take 20 minutes to learn something new. And if you actually did that every Thursday at 4:00, and you just, whether it's my system or just on the YouTube, I'm going to learn whatever that button is. Look it up, learn it. If you continued to do that, wow, you would, a few months later, I can do 5 times more than I need, but I can impress clients. I can offer more. I didn't even know that this was an option for me. And so that is probably how I'd answer that, is go beyond the need. And again, I do this, I got to take apart the door to my truck, go back to the car analogy. I'm going to watch a YouTube video. But I mean, if I watched a YouTube video every week, I could take apart my entire truck.
Yeah.
If it was my business to take apart trucks, I should probably do that.
Yeah.
Right? So
I love that too, man, because if I can maybe reword it maybe a different way too, see if this is what you are thinking also, is I see so many new people, not just with design, but design specifically and lasers in general, is they're afraid to push a button for some reason. And I just got into the habit where I just click everything. What does that do? What does that do? What does that do? Now, wait, let me pause for a second. I save my document first. and then I start clicking around. But
Yeah.
you know, it's if you're afraid to click something or wondering what it does, I just click it. And sometimes I still don't know what it does after I click it. But you know, getting past the fear of clicking things you don't know what they are, I'll just click everything. I'll save my document first and then just see what happens.
Yeah, exactly. You're not going to break it.
Yeah.
It's graphic design software. Every button does something.
Yeah.
And as you said, do backups, of course, you know.
Yeah.
Corel does an automatic backup every 15 minutes. It's one of the first things our settings changes do is every 5 minutes, you know.
Yes.
So there's an automatic backup there. And other things that you can do. But yeah, as long as you're saving, you're not going to break the graphic.
No.
It's going to do something. Oh, that's not what I want. You know, you hit Control Z or Edit Undo, and it goes back that step. You know, Corel remembers the last 150 steps as a default. Yeah,
I need 151 apparently, but yes, yeah,
you can increase that. You can do that.
I
it just takes
didn't
more
know
memory.
the number, but I have reached that. When I was trying to undo something, like, oh, it won't undo anymore. But I knew there was a lot of steps. I didn't know it was 150. So
yeah, something I'll do is I'll actually be designing, like actually doing graphics. I'll select my art and copy it. Control C on your keyboard.
Mhm.
And I'll hit Control Z to go back a step 100 times. And then I'll paste my art and look at where I was a half hour ago. And it's not even better.
Yeah, right.
You know, like, you know what? I don't know why I started adding a bunch of shadows. It doesn't even look good, you know, or whatever the case may be. Or having that side by side. Okay, yeah, it was fine. I'm just being technical, you know.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll do what I do a lot as a designer myself. I will start my file title with WIP, which is for me is work in progress.
Mhm.
And so it'd be WIP. Like I'm doing a set of drawers right now that I'm building. And so I've got a whole bunch of WIP single drawer, WIP double drawer, and so forth. And I know that file is going to probably have a bunch of craziness in it, and that's okay. You know, but I have that. In fact, someday just for kicks, I should share with my community what my WIP looks like. I don't know if they'll ever respect me in the morning, but
well, another cool thing about Corel is it's, you know, near infinite workspace. So you can have 10 different versions of the same art as you're progressing in the same file.
Yeah.
And then I actually do the opposite. I save that, then I take the final version, put it in a new document.
Yeah.
And then save that, adding the word production.
Oh yeah, so similar. Yeah, similar thought though. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So, you know, make sure, you know, it's flattened art or converted to curves. Don't worry if you don't know these terms.
Yeah.
We'll teach you. But it's that production version of that last version. That's how I save. So working on.
There's the age-old joke with computers, I think in general, not just designers, that the whole when you finally name the final one, it turns out it's like final, you know, WTF final, WTF final. Right. Just on and on and on. Yeah. I don't have any of those.
Yeah.
I have a lot of those.
I've got a couple that say correct final.
Yeah. Right.
Start adding the date.
Yes, I've done that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when you have to do the same date like multiple times, you're like, wait, that was this morning. Hold on, what am I doing? Yeah, that's awful.
Before coffee, after coffee.
Oh yes, yes.
By the way, thank you for.
Yeah, right. Yeah, good. Yeah, a quick drink break. Here we go. Okay. All right, everybody. There we go. I love it. That's great. I don't want to jump in on you, Tabitha. I know you got a few more there.
Good.
Is there I don't know if you can pick this. I don't know if you can answer this or not, but just anything that comes to your mind. If you had to pick maybe one or maybe two, whatever, kind of what you would call a hidden gem or a thing that you use all the time in Corel, that it doesn't have to be complicated, but something you should go, man, a lot of people just don't know this exists. And this is something I use all the time. Could be a simple keystroke, could be a tool. Doesn't have to be Corel specific necessarily. But is there one or two things that when you discovered it, you're like, wow, that I do all the time? I can tell you what one of mine is, but do you have any like that?
Yeah, I have several. Geez, more context. Do you want me to my top one?
Sure,
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
As far as tools are concerned, I would say the Smart Fill tool I think is massively overlooked in Corel, is incredibly useful, especially for engravers, when getting something out of that nothing area, if you will, or getting a new thing in just the area I need. Smart Fill is a tool in Corel that will exactly that. It will create something in that void background that I actually need, as an engraver to be solid white or solid black or something like that, right? Or to fill in the A without the center of the A,
Yeah.
for example, or vice versa, just the center of the A. That Smart Fill is an incredibly useful tool that will create a new vector object out of nothingness.
Nice.
As long as it has a container, has to be
Yeah.
contained, or you're going to fill in everything, which
I've done that.
may or may not crash my Corel from time to time when you're trying
Right.
to fill in a million little pieces of nothingness.
I can't tell you how many times I want my computer to know what I mean, not what I say.
Mm.
You know, that's not, it did exactly what I said. It's just not what I wanted. You know, like,
Right.
yeah, that's great. Tabitha, you got anything else before I completely cut in like I always do?
Oh, I'll let you take it.
Okay. I wasn't trying to. That's so great. So let's kind of switch to talking about your class a little bit. And I think you probably have got one or two tips you can share with on the screen here in just a minute. I'll let you kind of think about that as we go here. Could you give us a quick overview, just an overview of what people can expect from your class? You don't have to tell us all the things you're teaching. That would be too much. But just kind of, hey, if I'm going to come to your class, what would I expect overall?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to first just define Corel in itself as a program, then the basic design aspects of it, such as the tools, as I mentioned, the menus, the dockers, these type of things.
Yeah.
We're going to walk through a couple of the basics, text tool, how to adjust nodes, and then we're going to dive right into vectorizing. Something pretty much everyone struggles with in one way or another is getting that JPEG off the client's website.
Yes.
Or that business card that we scanned in, and now what, or whatever it may be, and getting something good vector out of it. If you're so new, vector is the line art, while digital or pixelated image would be exactly that. We're all more naturally these days familiar with the digital, resolution on our phone, resolution of our television, our computer screen. The vector is that exactly defined art that we would prefer in most cases.
Yeah.
And once we have vector, super easy to change colors, scale, etc. So after we define Corel in general, mostly just the basics, then we're going to take something and vectorize it.
Man.
That will also give us a great starting point for the rest of the class.
Oh my gosh. I think anyone that's watching this, if they hear that, they're like, oh, I got to take that class. Like, Tabitha, I'm going to throw you a softball. How often do you have to do that on a daily or weekly basis?
Often enough to where I actually hire it out right now. I just don't have time to do it all the time.
But it's super common though. That's
yes. Yeah, I get logos sent to me that are terribly pixelated, and I'm just looking at it going, I can't trace this. I can't do anything with this. It's full color. There's grayscale on it. What is happening?
But that is a very common thing. And I'm excited that Clay's going to teach that, because I bet two things. I bet, number one, that there will probably be several of those that you actually probably could do if you learned a couple tips, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
And just being able to, Clay, I don't want to put words in your mouth. Correct me if this is not what you're thinking, but I know for me, when I'm training people, I like for them to be able to look at a graphic that someone gave them and kind of quickly say, oh yeah, that's doable, or, oh, hey, that's more complicated than you think. And until you know how the program works, you don't really know the answer to any of that.
Exactly. You'll need to work through those a few times, and then also, no disrespect, Tabitha, but learn some new skills so that,
Sure.
maybe I could have done that one.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, I mean, Corel Power Trace is, well, in my opinion, it's the best. I mean, again, I'm a little partial. There's a lot of different tracing tools out there, but there's so many things within just the tracing steps that clients don't know yet. And we've broken it down to, in our courses, also a separate category of tracing 1, 2, 3. One is things to do to the art before you even try to trace it, right, in CorelDRAW.
Oh, yeah.
So you mentioned how it's a color image. A lot of clients, they don't. You can adjust that color image before you even trace it in Corel. You have a full design software. You can force it to be a specific resolution in a specific color mode, maybe just black and white, then trace it.
Yeah.
And then the second of tracing 1, 2, 3 would be the Corel Power Trace itself, things to do to get the most, the best results, the type of nodes being created, how amount of detail, etc. And the last is things to do afterwards. Punching out that background, getting a nice contour boundary. Maybe that's all we needed. Those type of things. So,
man, I tell you,
this class right here sounds like it's worth the price of the entire ticket. So
I mean, right there, just that one part, just that,
right?
Because I know, man, I'm not even that big of a player at all, and I get people every single week asking me to help trace logos. So this is fantastic. That's going to be fantastic.
And that's in tracing 1, 2, 3. We don't disvalue, as you mentioned, outsourcing as well. Once you say, I can knock this out in 5 minutes, it's, boom. Or you know what? I could maybe do that. I could probably trace that, but it ain't worth an hour. And man, $20, $40, we know a guy who will get back to us, tomorrow with the vector. What's your time worth? So
exactly.
Well, and maybe not you, Clay, but maybe Tabitha, bad example, but maybe somebody out there could turn out to be the person that someone goes to because they found out that the Corel can do this and they now know how. So maybe you'll get a side gig of tracing logos for people because you've learned how to do it in Corel in a better way. So
exactly. Plenty of money to be had right there.
There is. And then Mark will hire you to trace it for me. Yeah, that's great. That's fantastic. I know the answer to this, but I'll just throw you a softball, Clay. If people are coming to your class, is this more of a watch and learn, or should they bring their laptops with them and follow along? What do you recommend there?
More of a watch and learn, because I do want to cover more than just what we talked about.
Yeah.
If we had the whole 90 minutes to cover just what we talked about so far today, then boom, everybody follow along. We're good to go. And I do versions of that class. I've learned the hard way, maximum of 20 people in the room. I really like a dozen to step by step. And I do have, training courses with my products that are exactly that. Those A to Zs I mentioned, step by step. But in this one, I'll give everyone, an outline, plenty of room to take notes. We'll take questions at the end, and there's those main categories. But I do want to go over twice as much as we've talked about so far today in that course. I want to talk about that digital stuff, maybe adding color, these type of things. I want to get one step up, ending the 101 class with things like customizing your Corel workspace. Because there are things just when you open that Corel, that overwhelming Corel, and if I could just add a button here that did that one thing, you can add a button there. Let me show you how.
Yeah.
So that workspace customization might be a little bit not beginner, but is so incredibly useful. And I'd like to spend, 5-10 minutes on that as well.
I love it. Do you have, you do not have to do this if you don't want to. Do you have one or two things you'd like to share your screen and show us some things?
Let's show the outline and I can just talk about a couple things.
You ready for me to share that? Is that good to go?
Yeah, pull it on up.
Okay. So talk us through this.
Yeah, for sure. So we'll be passing this out. It'll be a 2-page outline, in the class. And ultimately walking through after an introduction, as we mentioned here, vectorizing, and there's a few question marks in here that you'll notice that is basically, are we going to have time to actually go over in a lot of detail or just cover quickly? Yes, it's the same class that I'm teaching for you guys, but each class we might very quickly go over contours and boundaries, or in 2 minutes. But then the next time, all right, let's spend 5 or 8 on
Yeah.
that subject.
Yeah.
Fitting to path, text around a circle or logos around logo, right? These type of things. We mentioned earlier that step and repeat, creating gang sheets, something I'll show relatively quickly, but I do want to ultimately go over, customizing that workspace and talking about the differences and of, who prints also in that class, maybe, toe in the water, not just engraving, but also possibly printing.
Mhm.
And that end of the class is what's going to differ the most, right? Those questions that come up in the Q&A. Okay, there's only one person that does printing in the room.
Yeah.
And then the second time I teach the class, half the class does apparel. I don't know.
Right.
Or something,
Right.
okay, well, we'll spend that 8-10 minutes at the end of the class talking about that too. Again, as we mentioned at the very beginning here, Corel is such a powerful design system for every imprint process.
Yeah.
And so often those engravers get into out of necessity. Okay, I'm doing trophies, and my clients come to me and they're complaining about who they get their jerseys from. And I went to that trade show or that event, and I could cut vinyl, right?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can do names and numbers on the back of jerseys and get a decent markup, or print them, these type of things. So as imprinter, there is so much overlap. It is natural for every class to a little
Mhm.
bit outside of the scope. I've tried to teach classes just for setting up art for embroidery, setting up art for screen printing. So, and it always overlaps a little bit.
Mhm.
And I'll be showing my systems, right? My software that I mentioned to you guys. We'll be showing that. Won't be doing sales pitch stuff. I learned a long, long time ago. Nobody likes a class where you turn into a salesman. I'm a teacher in class. Now, at other times,
Sure.
when I do put my salesman hat on, but especially my product being a learning tool, I got to show it in a learning class where you're there to learn,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
So,
Mhm.
I'll open up the trainer on the side and we'll walk through those A to Z courses real quick, how they load the worksheet. You can follow along with the video. And we'll open up my second plugin, which is a series of shortcuts for creating art, which is the Simple Designer. For those of you who have been around a while, there were some similar tools back in the day. You take a template, a professionally designed graphic, and you tailor everything about it in minutes. Within a production ready format, you move on to generating proposals, things like that, with just a series of shortcuts inside Corel. And we'll show that too, just quickly.
I love it. Man, this is so good. Oh, I'm excited about it. I can't get to all the classes I want, but I'm going to definitely poke my head in yours for sure. That is really cool. And I
Well, good
really
news for
do.
you, Mark. It is
Huh?
recorded, so you can
No,
watch it later.
that's true. I can watch it later. That's true. That is absolutely true. I'm gonna have to check my schedule. I know for sure that my two are on Saturday, so I can definitely catch this Friday one for sure. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
what did you look at that? Are you doing that right now? What in the
Yeah, I'm
world?
just doing this with my shortcut software.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah, I need that.
Yeah.
It's not showing my second window, but another window came up showing thousands of options. I'm searching in that window for soccer graphics or fireman logos or thousands of options, of which a client can also just bring in their customer's logo, right? They don't have to use
Mhm.
our stuff,
Yeah.
but super easy to swap elements out, move things around, as well as things like, okay, I just need this to be a specific color palette, right? And with a click of the mouse, it converts the entire image to that palette,
Mm.
or exchanging specific colors. And again, we'll go over this later. It's something I'm
Yeah.
very proud of developing, as you guys can imagine,
Yeah.
so
Mm.
quickly customizing art and then doing things like one click automatic black and white, one click inverting the black and white, softening the art so that it's not heavy print, presenting on products. I mean, there's a cajillion shortcuts that we've added with this. You guys will check it out. Everyone who comes will walk through this a couple times with y'all. You're gonna love it, and you're just shortcuts.
That's
You know,
awesome.
Oh,
Yeah. Tabitha,
This
stop it.
Oh, sorry.
I can see your brain going. It's so good.
Like
That's
now
great.
I need a color printer.
yeah.
That's great.
This class
No.
just got expensive for me. Great.
But
Well,
yet,
that's a good-
I'm not trying to sell anything here either. But the time saved has a huge
Yeah.
value. Huge
Yes.
value. That's great. Oh my goodness.
I mean,
Yeah,
and
Clay,
the-
this is really hard for me not to want to just dive right in this with you right now. Like this is very, very. Look at that.
Or
Nice.
that. Anyways, you
Yeah.
guys get
Yeah.
the idea. Series of shortcuts. Everything I just did in this last like minute, that's one of our plugin systems. Everything I did in that minute, we'll teach you how to do manually with our primary product or train system.
Yeah.
Right.
Hmm.
It's just, how do I take this graphic and show it on these products? I have a class that walks you through that. It'll take you 30, 40 minutes to learn how to take a graphic and put it on custom products and make a proposal. But in the plugin that we offer, it's a button.
That's great.
And I really don't like presenting our Simple Designer as an alternative to learning Corel. I like presenting it as an add-on.
Yeah.
We were using the car analogy. This is a Mack truck, right?
Nice.
There's a big trailer behind it. So anyways,
with blinkers. I just had to say it doesn't have to fit anymore. I'm just going to say blinkers for no reason at all. This is great.
Yeah.
So, man, this has gone so quickly. Holy cow!
Oh wow!
I know, right? As we're just going to a close here, I just want to give you an opportunity to talk to people. We're going to have people watching this on demand later because they're at work. They're wanting to just find a little bit more about Clay. They're wanting to kind of hear your style, but I want to give you just a minute to literally or figuratively look in the camera and just encourage people. Is if someone feels intimidated by CorelDRAW, what would you say to them? How would you encourage them as we're kind of wrapping to a close? What would you say to someone who's intimidated by Corel, by design in general? How would you encourage them on that?
I'd say, I'm not gonna lie, it's a big elephant.
Yeah.
And how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time.
Yeah.
Right. So as from the beginning, as we were talking about, if you just take one day to learn one thing, in 100 days, you're gonna know it. 100 things. As Tabitha's example was, she first had the need to learn 10 things, and she learned them. Don't necessarily be intimidated. Take another bite the next day, and you will maybe not ever be a graphic designer, but you will impress yourself. I'll tell you that. Yeah.
That's great. And I would add to that, try to focus. I know for me, when I was starting, I still do it now occasionally because I'm a regular human that does this, is sometimes I get distracted by what somebody else knows how to do without realizing that I actually don't need to know how to do that. Like sometimes I get intimidated by this skill set or that, which actually I wouldn't use on a daily basis anyway. So sometimes I got to tell myself, hey, that's not actually important. This is the job that's in front of me. This is what I need to get done. And, pat on Mark's back, you learned how to do that.
Absolutely good. Absolutely a great point. So many times, going back to the number one topic that people need, ultimately the bitmap to vector tracing, and that roots right back to so many of my students want the highest resolution image with the most amount of detail, and that is not what you need.
Yeah.
If you're vectorizing a logo and it's going to be on a flask this big,
Yes.
you don't need massive detail. And that's exactly what you're saying. Somebody might be like, wow, I did this awesome graphic for a billboard. That's good for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you can spend a month learning how to do graphics for billboards, but if you don't print billboards,
yeah.
So
yeah, I think that's great. That's exactly right. Kind of think about as you guys are considering this class and lasers in general, think about what do I do or what do I need to do on a daily basis? And let's really kind of hone in on what those skill sets are, because those are the ones that are going to pay off immediately. that you're going to use every single day. And if you want to chase the other squirrels, you can do that, and that's fine because I do that too. But and that does come into the 20 minutes, learning a new tool for sure. But I'm excited because I think you guys, if you choose to take this class, you're gonna learn some very, very applicable things that you can do tomorrow that are really going to make a difference in your business and in your daily, frankly, even your daily stress amount, because you're going to realize, oh, I can do that. That's not that big a deal. So I think it's going to be great. Clay,
I'll guarantee everybody in that room will learn something.
Yeah, it's going to be great. I'm excited about that. So one last thing, I guess we'll see if we can wrap up here. Outside of your class, I know you spend a lot of time at different events. You teach a lot. What do you enjoy? What does Clay enjoy at these events outside of teaching? Because I know you enjoy that. What are you looking forward to at this event? And I'm not fishing for compliments. I'm saying, what are you excited about?
You're the best.
Yeah, right. And that's all the time we have for today. Thank you very much.
The thing I love, and I do mean love about this, is helping small businesses grow.
Yeah.
And it might sound a little cliche, but man, is it cool when I see a client and they buy my trainer, and then the next year I see them there. I've probably talked to them a few times, but their business is, started in the garage, and now they're building a shop, and now their nephew is opening a second location. Man, is that rewarding when I could be a small part of that.
I gotta say, I don't know who this David guy is, but he says Lazy River is what he's looking forward to. I know who David is. I'm kidding. That's great. Yeah. So here, Clay is being all adult, but David's like Lazy River all the way. No, that really is great. I love that too. It's just seeing people grow and succeed. I think we're all kind of kindred spirits on that. Is I want to see people win, and any part that we can play in that, all of us, we're excited about playing a part and seeing you guys win, because it is really a story for us as Next Level. This is a story about you guys. This isn't. I don't need attention. All I want is an opportunity to see you guys grow and to stay connected with you after the event and hear your stories. And I can tell that Clay and David both feel exactly the same way. Lazy River notwithstanding. Yes. So I love to hear that, man. And I know you guys will be able to as well. I hope you guys get a chance to just spend some time with the community. I think you're going to meet a lot of people you're really going to like. Just nice people. I know they exist everywhere. I'm biased. I think we got a corner on the nice people. So that's not a bad thing. It's going to be really good, man. I've told you before, but we're thrilled to have you with us, and we're thankful for your willingness to invest in people in the community, and it's going to be great, man. Thank you very much.
We're really looking forward to this event. It's not a typical trade show. It's not boring robot stuff. It's hanging out.
Yeah, just being with people. Yeah,
and growing small businesses. Legit.
Absolutely. Well, Clay, I want to make sure that everybody knows, I've got it on the screen here, where they can find out more about you, CorelTRAINER.com. I'm sure that you've got links there. They can contact you if they have questions, all that kind of thing. So is that the best place? I assume it's the best place to find you.
Absolutely. CorelTRAINER.com, SimpleDesigner.com. It's the same landing page at this point. You'll find us, you'll learn, and we'll make graphic design for the industry a heck of a lot easier for you.
I love it, man. Thank you very much for spending your time with us. Everybody else, I know that a lot of you be watching on demand. You can still drop things in the comments later, and I'll get notified. And if it's something that that Clay really needs to answer, I'll try to funnel it to him. But we'll do our best to stay in touch with you guys, no matter what time you're watching. And if you haven't got your tickets, nextlevellaserevents.com down there at the bottom. We would love to see you guys. Clay, thanks for hanging out with us, man. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, guys. It's been fun.
Yeah, it's been fun. It's all right. Even with David in the chat, I just love taking cheap shots at David. That's so great. You two stick around. Everybody else, have a great day. We will see you in the groups, and we will see you here in, I don't even want to say 30 days, whatever.
I think so.
Oh my gosh, it's close. All right, guys. Have a great rest of your Tuesday. You two stick around. Everybody else, we'll see you in the groups. Have a good one. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye.